Thank you. Further responses, the member from London West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm pleased to rise on behalf of the Ontario NDP caucus to respond to the statement from the Attorney General on Victims and Survivors of Crime Week. In the brief time I have available, I want to highlight 3 specific issues that must be addressed if this government is to adequately respond to the needs of survivors. The first issue is the impact of the government's modernization process, otherwise known as funding cuts, on victim services and partner assault response programs. A recent survey of violence against women coordinating committees from across Ontario revealed that almost half of these committees believe the changes will have a negative impact on victim safety and that they will limit the ability of victim services organizations to participate in community collaboration. Modernization means fewer services, a greater negative impact on vulnerable community members, and a reduction in public education and coordination activities. A related concern is the arbitrary reduction to the length of the Partner Assault Response Program from 16 weeks to 12 weeks, an issue I have raised repeatedly in this legislature. If we don't take action to change the behaviours of abusive partners, we will never be able to keep women safe. Yet, despite the unanimous opposition from community leaders and violence against women experts, the changes to PAR were implemented anyway, and the government continues to ignore the calls for PAR to be available on a voluntary basis with differentiated interventions based on level of risk. As a result, several agencies have refused to continue to deliver PAR because of ethical concerns that doing so could put women and children at risk. The second issue I want to highlight on this historic day marking our shared commitment to work for true reconciliation is the lack of culturally responsive services for Indigenous victims of crime. Indigenous peoples and women in particular are disproportionately represented as victims of crime, particularly violent crime. Increased victim support services are an important step toward breaking the cycle of violence, but much more work needs to be done to provide accessible and culturally relevant services for all Indigenous people who have experienced victimization, services that reflect a deep understanding of colonialism, acknowledgement of systemic racism, and awareness of the legacy of residential schools. The third issue is the government's failure to exclude criminal injuries, compensation board awards, and civil damages from the calculation of assets for Ontario Works and ODSP. All Ontarians deserve equal access to justice. This is an issue that the government can address immediately through regulatory changes to the ODSP and Ontario Works Acts. Thank you.
Thank you. Further response,